For me, first I just want to say, Dennis, I think it's important when we are making comparisons and making statements about people who have led this country that we should be fair. So, for example, saying that the only thing that Honorable His Excellency Raila Odinga has complained about is to do with the carpet and whatever is not a fair comment. Let me tell you, it's not a fair comment because, you know, historically, the man has been, you know, in the throes for this country for many years. So I think it is fair that we compare like with like and not try and sort of diminish what other people have done. But I want to say that I find it really, really crazy. I mean, our country is full of so many intrigues that the second most powerful person in our country can complain about the system. So what am I supposed to talk about as a normal, ordinary Kenyan? Who is this system? If the second most powerful man in this country can say the system is after him, you know, which system? Mm-hmm. So I think that we're using words and situations to just make a fool of Kenyans,
yeah,
really.
This is actually not new. I remember in 2008,
yes,
during Raila's homecoming in Kibera,
yes,
you had a bunch of government ministers, this was during the height of the maize crisis, who were threatening to lead demonstrations against the government. And I was asking, who is the government? Is it you guys?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I think these are just bogeymen that are created. Because if you've got an issue with a particular public official, let's deal with that public officials, not sort of invent people in the shadow.
Actually, Gashara, I hadn't finished. I'm trying to what I'm saying is that this country is going through a lot of challenges. The young people in this country have no jobs. Poverty is growing in upcountry, in the rural areas. People are really suffering. I mean, there's untold suffering in this nation, and I think this whole conversation that is just taking away energy from what the government should be doing, from the development projects that are supposed to be happening, the investments that are supposed to be made to help make the lives of ordinary people better. I'm just sick and tired of the fact that we are only focused on the politics. 2022 will come and go, but this country will be here. So my thinking is that we need to, you know, just stop this. We are giving too much attention. Mm-hmm. And in fact, when I look at the newspapers, it's sickening. Every single day, a story about Ruto, a story about what Ruto is doing. Isn't there anything major happening in this country? Right. Aren't there any inventions happening in our universities? Aren't there any major things happening in our country that should be reported? Right. Why should we have, like, look at this story of the Standard to be isolated? We are tired. I'm just saying, as somebody who reads the paper, we are tired of these stories. And I think it is time that the media shifted attention to where it really matters. There's a lot of corruption, there's a lot of, you know, stories that need to be told that are not being told because we have given all our headspace to these political stories. Mm-hmm. And I think in a way Dennis is right. You can't wake up every morning, every day. You're waking up to, you know, the same headlines. Right. It's almost like they're written ahead of time. So this is a challenge to the media. That Kenyans are getting sick of it. We are all getting sick of it. And we want the story to change. Mm-hmm. There's so much happening in this country, so much injustice that is happening that is not going reported. There's so many things that, more progressive things that we should be discussing, and now we have given the entire attention to this whole 2022 story. We are 2.5 years. God, how are we going to survive the next 2.5 years? We are 2.5 years away from the election, and yet we are already tired of it.
Yeah, so actually, every time the deputy president goes to a place, he starts by explaining the development that is happening in a place. Yeah. The media ignores that bit, which is the largest part of his speech, and only takes 1 or 2 things that he says about 2022. So the media is to blame. Okay. However, you asked a question. If the deputy president is complaining, what is a normal citizen supposed to do? And I have an answer for you. Yeah. The deputy president is complaining about he's actually raising an issue about his life. And this is not the first time that the system is frustrating people like that. President Moi.
But you haven't answered what a Kenyan should do then.
President Moi.
You're saying you had an answer.
President Moi was a vice president and in charge of Home Affairs. Then Home Affairs was in charge of police. He was slapped by a police person. Saitoti. It is actually Moi who complained that Saitoti had been poisoned by the system. So when the deputy president says the same, I don't see why we have an I
don't think Moi is a really credible guy.
The issue then here, as I asked you, you didn't answer, Dennis, the curse of Kenya's vice presidency is a reality.
Well, yeah, vice presidency, but fortunately enough, we have only had one deputy president who is not affected by those issues.
It's more or less the same thing. Deputy president,
vice president. It is not more or less. One is elected, one is appointed. World of a difference, my friend. World of a difference.
Okay, let me rephrase it then, because you seem to be hooked on semantics.
It's not semantics. No. You cannot get away with that. It is not semantics.
The second in command.
He's the second in command.
Yeah, so what are you saying about second in command?
The curse of Kenya's second in command. Do
and
you agree with that?
Mwai Kibaki became president. Daniel Moi became president.
What he has faced.
So, I mean, they
eventually went to 2 out of 9. That's a pretty poor record.
All right, Dennis. But as you call yourself the director or the digital secretary.
I call myself, I am.
The digital secretary at State House.
Yes.
You are not able to call out the system that you say is in government.
But Mark, I have spent time here showing you how.
Call out. Are you saying it's Matiang'i? Because you've said you've quoted a story of Matiang'i. Yes.
Yeah.
You've talked about Kinoti.
Mark, I think you're intentionally not listening to me. I told you the only person
I am listening to you very clearly as you bring out the headlines.
As I bring you system of facts.
Headlines.
The only person whoever came face to face with the system is President Uhuru Kenyatta in 2012. And he addressed TNA delegates in Bagavi and told us, because I was part of that meeting, he told that meeting that our watu ni madimoni, mashetani. So I have never met this system, but President Uhuru Kenyatta has met the system. I will also tell you this. I know the offshoots of the system and their evil schemes. And the offshoots of those schemes is a PS who told Lamada that they would make sure that the deputy president does not become president, just like they did to Saitoti. The offshoot of that system is a system that takes away security from MPs when they complain about their lives being in danger. The offshoot of that system are a prefecture.
That's a system that was taking security from ODM guys when they had an issue.
Yeah, it is the same system that,
come on.
It's the same system that's it's the same system.
Yeah, it's a government that we
it's the same system that worked on ensuring, it's the same system that PM Raila Odinga complained that it was not getting toilets and carpets.
No, when the security was withdrawn.
Let me ask this, in the stories that are being done, and it's just to draw the attention and actually in a way call out what is happening right now, the political games that are happening, that people are saying they're tired of, simply tired of as Kenyans. And yes, we're doing a disservice if that is what we're dealing with or dwelling on. Itumbi, is this all accurate as we draw the picture of a deputy president who is who's being boxed out with the handshake, the BBI? I'm just asking you a straight question. You can tell me.
We're back to this headline. Isolated by the Standard. And then he's isolated because there is President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga speaking to each other, and a picture of him alone. This picture that is used here, on this particular day that this was used, he was in Embu with millions of the Hustler Nation people. But intentionally, the Standard refused.
So you don't agree with any of the stories that actually
I do not agree.
Drawing the picture and the patterns of being boxed out politically and calling out what is happening, telling the Kenyans this is a political game that is going on.
I actually like that you say that the deputy president is boxed out politically. Now, politics, in my view,
yes,
and I've interacted with politics for quite a while, in my view, is about only one system, the system of the people of Kenya. Every Thursday or Friday to Sunday, the deputy president is with the people of Kenya from Lokichogio to Kilifi.
Isn't the president as well?
From Kedaraine,
isn't the president as well?
To Nairobi, to Eldoret, to Naivasha. The deputy president has only one system.
You're contradicting yourself. You've just talked about the system that is going after.
The very fact, I think Sylvia, don't misquote me.
Yes.
I have clearly said there exists a system in NTV. I have said there exists a system inside government, a system outside government. And I have said the only true system is a system of the people of Kenya, the Hustlers Nations. Those people,
Dennis, we are listening to you.
Those Hustler Nations is with the deputy president.
And not the president?
You cannot box me.
And not the president? Because you're really stuck on the deputy president, not the president?
On what? The deputy president and the
system
president
is
are elected on a ticket. Uhuru Ruto
I
are
think-
with the people of Kenya.
this
They are
is
elected
clear.
on eligibility.
You see, Dennis will always win this fight, you know, because you're playing his political game. You're not discussing the substance of what he is saying, you know. And this is what your politicians do, you know. Basically, they lead the media by the nose.
Yes.
You know, and they point BBI and they all run, you know, media
BBI.
runs and takes pictures of that, and that becomes the issue. They point Ruto, they point Raila, you know, because we don't actually sit back and ask, all right, what is in it for Kenyans? What are the issues?
Sticking to the
You
issues.
know, so we keep forgetting, you know. So a good example is Agenda 4. When's the last time anybody spoke
The deputy president spoke about it on Sunday.
you know, and what you find is we are always distracted from these things. You know, one of the things I'll say that Ruto did at the beginning of 2013, 2014,
Yes.
just after he took office, that I gave him credit for, was that he said corruption is a systemic problem. You know, and he came out and he said it, and then he went quiet about what that system is that needs to be fixed, you know, and how it needs to be fixed, you know. But our media doesn't sit back and ask. Those are not the issues. The issue is whether the war on corruption is being used to fight him. You know, it's not whether it's actually doing or fighting for us.
Yes.
You know, and that for me is the biggest betrayal of the Kenyan media.
To the people of
that
Kenya.
we created a constitution that gives you space, and there's a reason we guard that space.
Okay.
You know, you're the only industry that actually gets special treatment, and we say we are going to defend it. You know, yet we find that the space we have created for you is now not used in the service of us. You know, it is used in the service of your own profits, which I suppose is legitimate, but also in a real disservice in terms of disinforming. Well, yeah, disinforming perhaps is the word. In terms of distraction, rather than actually focusing people on what the problems they're facing are, on what the systemic roots of those problems are, what needs to be done to fix them.
Okay.
We get caught up playing this political game, which Dennis is pretty good at, you know. But for me, I see very little value
in it.
Yeah.
You know, in it. I see very little value in telling me DP has been here, there. You know, that for me does nothing.
Okay.
You know, how are the problems we have being addressed? What are the proposed solutions? What are the proposed platforms?
And we hope to stay true to that. Yes.
Yeah.
And Dennis, you said we can hold you to giving the evidence in what, 2 weeks, 2 months?
Once the court issue is settled, if it's settled tomorrow, be sure I'll play it. If it's settled the day after, I'll play it. But let's not say the DP has not, or the president hasn't been speaking about what they're doing.
Okay, you've said it. Okay, let me hold you on that.
TVETs, they have launched electricity. I mean, surely. You cannot come and say that by going to the people, then they are doing nothing.
You've had your say, Dennis.
Yeah.
Yes,
Actually, I wanted to say that one of the things that the media has to get back to is its original agenda setting role. Because what it has done is let smart people like Dennis and those who work in government be able to set the agenda and determine the narrative that we are having right now. I want to go back to the system and to just remind Dennis what the system has done. The system has made sure that millions of Kenyans have gone to bed hungry tonight. The system has made sure that millions of children are not even able to go to that so-called free primary school. I visited one public school recently. They have 100 kids in a class with one teacher. 100 children in a public school. How is one teacher even supposed to manage that? Is that really what we were thinking about as we're thinking about Agenda 4 and other critical policy instruments the government has? So the system is making sure that Kenyans just continue to go by. You know, as in the voice of the citizens is lost. There's no opposition now in this country. So whatever is happening with everybody at the top feeling very nice about themselves.
Shame on the system.
So what I'm saying is this. As the media, we have a responsibility to put a spotlight on those situations that the Kenyans are going through.
Right.
It is our responsibility to make sure that those guys who at Parliament and wherever remember why they were elected. And the system is doing everything to put a smoke screen on everything, so that Kenyans continue to go by and they continue to earn their fat salaries, they continue to enjoy life.
Right.
So that, for me, is the reason why we need to deal with that system.
All right,
and as Gashara said, there's a lot of crazy things happening behind the scenes that the media should be putting a spotlight on.
Let's hope that we'll live to this particular challenge and expectation to the nation. As has been said, the Kenyans have been betrayed by the Fourth Estate. Let's hope that we will get back on track and just do our jobs, basically. And I'd like to thank Sylvia for your time. Thank you, Dennis, for your time. And thank you, Patrick Gadara, for your time as well.
But
and
of course, we can't discuss that because the system works with a few people in the nation.
Okay.
So those issues cannot come out.
All right, and let's just to be clear, Dennis, it's 11. It's 11 for.
No, I agree. I sent you a clip. You promised it was on your running order.
Yes.
We come here. You've played along, you know, I will verify. We come here, you make sure that is not
very well said.
The DCI,
my bad on that. Then
DCI pamphlet.
No.
It's okay.
No, Dennis. My bad on that.
We understand
you say no. Let's be very clear.
Has said the DCI has been very clear that there were 3 people.
No one dismisses that particular story.
And Safaricom,
and yes, it's not any small. You're clearly here to set an agenda.
Dennis, unless of course the nation is not interested in ensuring
the show has ended.
Of Kenai.
And thank you for your time. Thank you, Patrick Gadara, for your time. Thank you, Sylvia, for your time. And this is where it ends for today. Apologies, we didn't have time to cover everything that was expected. There's a lot to be discussed, and hopefully we'll be back next week. And take your criticism and critique. Many people have written and said you're pleased or not pleased by this particular discussion. Thank you for your candid views. That's why we're here. We're here to learn and grow. Have a good night.